Hi everyone and welcome to episode number 5 of the Shenmue Talk series here at the Shenmue Unofficial channel. In this episode we are going to talk about my favorite character in the Shenmue series. This character is very special because for me it was the first character ever to transmit me feelings and emotions almost at the same level as another human being. This is why this character is probably my favorite video game character of all times. This character is of course Ryo Hazuki, and throughout this episode we are going to follow his footsteps and analyze his character and his development throughout both Shenmue 1 and 2. We are also going to analyze Ryo's relationship with some of the most important characters in the Shenmue series, and also some theories about his destiny. So, let's get started. As we all know, November 29, 1986 is a day that will change dramatically Ryo's fate. On his 18th birthday, Ryo returns home and witnesses an event that will turn his life upside down. His father Iwao Hazuki is killed in the family dojo at the hands of a mysterious Chinese man called Landy. Landy was in search of a certain mirror that Iwao had kept hidden for a long time. Iwao refused to reveal the mirror's location, and the two engaged in a deadly fight. Landy quickly defeated Iwao and Ryo as he attempted to defend his father. With the two defeated on the floor of the Hazuki dojo, and with Iwao still refusing to reveal the mirror's location, Landy quickly threatens to kill Ryo, leaving Iwao no choice but to reveal the mirror's location. With Iwao still on the floor, Landy asks him if he remembers the name Zhao Sunming, a man that Iwao had killed in Mengkung, China. Landy then allows Iwao to get up and die like a warrior, before delivering his final blow. With the mirror in hand, Landy leaves father and son for their final moment together. Before dying in his son's arms, Iwao tells Ryo a very important message: to keep his friends, those he loves, close to him. In the saddest moment of his life, Ryo is left with a lot of questions and a great mystery to solve. So, right after this first cutscene, I think we can already see some traces of Ryo's character and personality. We can see that Ryo is a caring person and that he is brave, but also very impulsive. This makes Ryo a very believable character right from the start, and one that we can relate to. After this tragic event, Ryo quickly decides that he will find an answer for these questions, and that he will stop at nothing to avenge the death of his father, showing us that Ryo is a very determined and self-driven person. I think that these characteristics in Ryo's personality are in part due to the education given by his father that we can see in the several short cutscenes of Ryo's memories of Iwao. In his quest to find out answers about the events that led to his father's death, Ryo decides to ask the locals if they recall anything about the day that his father was murdered. When Ryo asks the locals for information about that tragic day, we can really get the feeling that Ryo is at home. Many of the locals know Ryo or even recall his name because of his father. We can also see that Ryo is generally kind and helpful to other people. Ryo lives in Yamanose, an area in the town of Yokosuka, Japan, where the events of Shenmue 1 take place. Yokosuka is an industrial city that is known for having a naval base that has been occupied by US military forces since the end of World War II. This Japanese city is also known because of the sujakan, or souvenir jackets. Originally created in Yokosuka City, Kanagawa Prefecture, they are handmade jumpers that use embroidery skills of craftsmen that have become widely popular in Japan. Military soldiers stationed in Japan would take it home with them as a souvenir. Thus began the history of the Sukajan, onto which oriental patterns would be embroidered, such as military units or name to which they belonged, eagles, dragons, tigers, and so on. Sukajan was born on Dobuita Street, about 10-minute walk north from Yokosuka Station. Here and there are clothing stores with layouts that face the street and display a variety of patterned goods in a conspicuous way. This can also be seen in Shenmue, showing the level of detail that was implemented in the game. We can also see clearly that Ryo's jacket was also inspired in the Sukajan, having in it American and naval motifs and of course the famous tiger at the back, an animal that is widely worshipped around Asia and that I think has a symbolic meaning that is closely tied with Ryo, and that I will explain later on in this video. But now let us carry on, following Ryo's footsteps and see what clues he finds out that will help him in his quest. After talking with some of the locals, Ryo ends up knowing about the three blades. The three blades are three different trades that are represented by the barber, the tailor, and the cook. Ryo also learns that most of the Chinese that came to Japan work in these three different trades because it was easier for them to set up. The three blades were also bodyguards to the Chinese emperor in ancient times, protecting him from assassins with their scissors, knives, and razors. One of the Chinese locals tells Ryo that Landi may belong to a Chinese black market cartel, or even the Chinese mafia, and that they have settled a base in Yokosuka harbor. He also suggested Ryo to look for sailors and ask them for more information. After asking around for sailors in some of the local bars, Ryo soon finds out that sailors hang out in a bar called Heartbeats. At the Heartbeats bar, Ryo asks for sailors that work with Chinese ships. He is then quickly arrested by one of the sailors in the bar. This attitude reveals a short-tempered Ryo, making the situation escalate into a fight. After kicking everyone's ass at the bar and messing the place up, the bar owner ends up telling Ryo about a guy named Charlie that smuggles goods and that he might know about the Chinese black market cartel. By asking around Dobuita about Charlie, Ryo soon finds out that he hangs out around the jacket shops at night. When walking the streets of Dobuita at night, Ryo encounters a guy that says he knows Charlie and that he will take Ryo to meet him. Ryo quickly learns that he has been headed into a trap and that he will have no choice but to fight. After defeating all the thugs, Ryo interrogates one of them and learns of the existence of a tattoo parlor in Yokosuka. As we all know, fighting is an integral part of the game, and martial arts is a key element of the Shenmue series. Just like I have said before in one of the previous episodes, I think that the main focus in Shenmue 1 is that of the body. The objective is for Ryo to practice his martial arts skills regularly and also learn new moves from other martial arts masters or practitioners, and also by finding or buying martial arts scrolls at the antique shop in order to become a better fighter and martial artist. But this is not all. I also think that in Shenmue the objective is also to see the evolution and development of Ryo's character and personality through the experiences that he will be facing, with martial arts playing a fundamental part in Ryo's journey. Carrying on with his journey, Ryo finds out at the U Arcade that the location of the tattoo parlor is at Okoyama Heights. After talking with the tattoo artist, Ryo finds out Charlie is in the shop sleeping. As Ryo attempts to see Charlie, he is quickly attacked with a knife. Thanks to his martial arts skills and quick reflexes, Ryo manages to dodge the attack and immobilize Charlie. With Charlie immobilized, Ryo asks him about the cartel. Charlie ends up saying that he will arrange a meeting with some of the members the next day at the arcade. As he exits the tattoo parlor, Ryo meets Nozomi, and as we all know, these two characters have a very special relationship with one another. This is one of the reasons why I love the Shenmue series so much, because we can really sense the emotion and the feelings that these two characters have for each other. But these two characters also have a big dilemma. In one hand, Ryo is totally focused on finding out the answers to the death of his father and doesn't have the time to be with Nozomi. In my opinion, this is the reason why Ryo doesn't want to take his relationship with Nozomi to the next level. Because he simply does not have the time to be with her, and he also doesn't want to hurt her feelings. He also doesn't want Nozomi to get involved, because she might get hurt, and as we all know, that's what ends up happening. On the other hand, Nozomi ends up having to go to Canada. Because of this, she knows she might never see Ryo again. Nevertheless, Nozomi still tells Ryo her feelings about him. In the end, the circumstances in both these characters' lives decided that for now they will remain apart. Let us pray that in the future destiny will reunite them once again. Still committed to avenge his father's death, Ryo decides the next morning to carry out his martial arts training by sparring with Fukusan. After their practice, Fukusan asks Ryo if he has got any new information. Ryo tells Fukusan that he has a lead about the Chinese cartel. Fukusan immediately tries to persuade Ryo to give up his quest, telling him that it is too dangerous. He also finds out that Ryo started training again because he wants to avenge the death of his father, but Ryo is completely determined and won't change his mind. Meanwhile, Ine-san had overheard Ryo's conversation with Fukusan and pleads Ryo not to pursue his quest for vengeance, but Ryo maintains his determination because he does not believe his father was able to kill someone else. Ine-san ends up giving Ryo a letter in Chinese that was for his father Iwao. The letter had arrived right after his death, but Ine-san had kept it hidden because she had a bad feeling about it and didn't want Ryo to upset the spirit of his father, and also not to do something foolish and risk his life, so she makes him promise not to do so, and Ryo ends up making that promise. Although Ine-san is not directly related to Ryo, she is definitely part of the Hazuki family, and shows very strong feelings towards Ryo, just like she was his own grandmother. This is quite noticeable throughout the playthrough of Shenmue 1, as she is always waiting for Ryo and telling him not to return home very late. But somehow I think that Ine-san also knows a lot more about Iwao's past than Ryo, and that she also might return to the Shenmue series, because she has appeared in a trailer of Shenmue 3. Let us just hope that this might be true. After a brief conversation with Fukusan about the Chinese letter, Ryo sets out on a quest to translate it. As Ryo walks in Yamanose towards Dobuita, he encounters a little boy running towards him crying. The little boy tells Ryo that a man with sunglasses took his soccer ball and that he said he would give it back if he took Ryo to meet him. The boy tells Ryo that the man is at the construction site. When Ryo arrives at the site, he immediately notices that the man with sunglasses was the one that he interrogated at the tattoo parlor, and that he wants revenge for what Ryo did to him. Ryo realizes that he has yet again been headed into a trap and that he has no choice but to fight. It seems that right after Ryo's promise to Ine-san, things are starting to get even more dangerous. But as always, Ryo manages to take care of the thugs and save the boy. Coincidentally, he finds out that the boy is Chinese. This seems to indicate that Ryo is heading on the right track. In Dobuita, Ryo talks again with some of the Chinese locals. At the Ajiichi Chinese restaurant, Ryo talks with Tao's son and his wife about the Chinese letter and finds out that the letter is written with old kanji characters in an unusual way. Because of this, Tao's son can't read the letter, but he tells Ryo that the letter's paper is very high quality and that it is used in Chinese calligraphy for ceremonial purposes. At this point, we can realize that this letter is very important and that it was written in such a way that only Iwao could have translated. Tao's son ends up suggesting Ryo to talk to Guanji, that's out on the street delivering goods. It seems Guanji is good with kanji characters. Out on the street, Ryo meets Guanji. After buying Guanji a drink from the vending machine, Ryo asks him if he could translate the Chinese letter. Guanji tells Ryo that the kanji in the letter are weird and that he can't read them. He suggests Ryo to seek her Japanese teacher. Apparently she is a kanji expert and runs a china shop on Dobuita Street. At Russia's china shop, Ryo meets Xia Shuyu, Guanji's Japanese teacher. Ryo asks Shuyu if she can translate the Chinese letter. Shuyu immediately notices that the letter is written in reversed kanji and in a special style. It seems like the letter contained a very important message for Iwao. Beware of those who pursue the mirror. If you ever need help, seek the aid of Master Chen. Signed Zhu Yunda. Shuyu also notices that there is another message written in the letter. It says, Father's Heaven, 9 dragons, Mother's Earth, comrades. Shuyu doesn't understand its meaning, but tells Ryo that there is also a phone number alongside this message. Ryo ends up thanking Shuyu for her help and embarks on a new quest to uncover this important information. By phoning the number that was in the letter, Ryo finds out that the message Father's Heaven, 9 dragons, Mother's Earth and comrades was a passcode. He also received a message about a warehouse number 8, but couldn't find out its location. Ryo asks Hirata-san, the owner of the tobacco shop in Dobuita Street, if she knows any warehouse number 8. She tells him that she has never heard of it before. Ryo tells her that he has the phone number and she immediately suggests Ryo to look in the phone book for an address. Ryo ends up finding out that the number's address is in Amihama at Yokosuka Harbor. This discovery sets Ryo on a new path, and as we all know, Yokosuka Harbor is a must-see spot for any fan that decides to make the Shenmue pilgrimage. But before we continue Ryo's journey, let us just take a look at a cutscene that explains the term Father's Heaven, 9 dragons, Mother's Earth, and comrades.
Ryu-san?
Oh, it's you again. What is it?
There's something I'd like to ask you.
Is it something I might know?
It's about the expression, Heaven, Dragon, Earth, Comrade.
That's an old legend from Hong Kong.
Hong Kong?
It is said that in ancient times, there were 9 dragons born of Father's Heaven and raised by Mother's Earth to become gods of the Hong Kong Islands. Much revered by the island people, they were considered both parents and comrades, and thus they have remained for eternity. That is the legend.
I see. Thank you.
There's no need to thank.
As we have seen in this short cutscene, Ryu-san tells Ryo about the legend of the 9 dragons, which has its origin in Hong Kong. That, as we all know, is the setting for Shenmue 2. One interesting thing that I think some of you might not have noticed or never came across is the fact that 9 dragons in Chinese means Kowloon, and that there is also another Hong Kong legend about the 9 dragons. The mainland overlooking Hong Kong is called Kowloon, which means 9 dragons. Legend states the mainland was named this by a Chinese emperor who fled there after the Song dynasty. Originally he named it after 8 hills predominantly located on the land. His servant observed that the emperor should also be counted among the regal figures. Hence the Kowloon or 9 dragons nomenclature was born. What makes this even more interesting is the fact that in Shenmue 2, Kowloon is the exact location where Zhu Yunda is hidden, so in fact the letter that Zhu Yunda sent to Iwao ends up revealing his exact location. This is why I thought this was an interesting fact to share with you in this episode. And also, in case you are interested, you can pause this video and read the description of each one of the dragons that are part of the legend in this great illustration. Now let us carry on following Ryo in his new quest to find out the location of warehouse number 8. This new quest takes us to Yokosuka Harbor, a new location where Ryo will spend most of its time from now on. In his attempt to find out the location of warehouse number 8, Ryo starts investigating and asking the people that work around the harbor for its location. Eventually, Ryo ends up finding out that the real location of warehouse number 8 is in the old warehouse district of Yokosuka Harbor. After doing some work at the harbor, Ryo ends up finding out that his best chance to get past the patrol guards and enter the old warehouse district is between 8 and 9 p.m. Meanwhile, Ryo receives a visit from some of his friends. They've decided to check up on him because Fukusan told them he was worried about him. Ryo explains that everything is alright and that they shouldn't worry. After seeing that everything seems to be fine, they decided to leave, telling Ryo that if he ever gets in trouble, to let them know. And as we all know, Ryo will eventually need the help of one of his friends in one of the last events of Shenmue 1. What we also know is that friendship is a very important subject in the Shenmue series, and for me it will be an essential one in order for Ryo to succeed in fulfilling his destiny. That's one of the reasons why I think Iwao told Ryo to keep his friends and those he loves close to him. The following day, Ryo returns to the old warehouse district and sneaks past the patrol guards and manages to find warehouse number 8, where he would finally meet Master Chen.
Excuse me? Chen-san? It won't open. This phone number. This must be Master Chen's warehouse. There's gotta be a clue about Master Chen somewhere. Lots of stuff in here. All Master Chen's? What kind of pot is this?
Who's there?
Wait, Wei-san.
What? Master Chen. Master Chen?
You are the young man who has called?
Yes, Ryo Hazuki. This says, if you ever need help, seek the aid of Master Chen.
May I look at the letter?
Sure.
This is Zhu's handwriting. But it appears this letter arrived too late.
Yes. This Zhu Yongda, how does he know my father?
Zhu and your father brought back a certain mirror from China.
The mirror? The one that man stole?
It was stolen?
Yes. The man who killed my father, Lan Di.
Lan Di.
Do you know him?
Well, I know of him. An organization called Qi You Men. Its leader goes by that name. I hear he's a master of a deadly martial art.
Yes. He used a style I've never seen.
I think we mean the same person.
What does this mean? Please tell me why my father...
You needn't tell this boy anything, Father.
Father?
No, I'm bound by my promise to Zhu Yuanda regarding this boy's father.
But...
Was only one mirror stolen?
Huh?
I'm asking if only one mirror was stolen.
Yes. Made of stone, a dragon design.
If so, then there's one more. I believe the Phoenix Mirror.
Phoenix?
A mythical bird of Chinese legend that guards human life.
That mirror? My house?
Perhaps. Find it, and then we'll talk.
Yes. When I do, I'll return.
From now on, telephone beforehand. And remember the password.
In this cutscene, Ryo meets Master Chen and his son Guizhang. Ryo learns from Master Chen that his father Iwao and Zhu Yunda had brought a certain mirror from China to Japan, and that supposedly Lan Di is the leader of an organization called the Qiumin, and that he is a master of a deadly martial art. It seems that Iwao was also in the possession of a second mirror with the design of a phoenix. Master Chen tells Ryo that if he finds this mirror, to seek him again. So, what I think is interesting in this cutscene, besides the information that Ryo gathers, is the fact that he was completely unaware at that time that his father Iwao had ever been in China, and that he had never heard about the mirrors until the day that he died. Further ahead in this episode, I will explain my theory about what might have happened and why Ryo was completely unaware of his father's past. But now let us carry on with Ryo in his quest to find the Phoenix Mirror. In the next morning, Ryo asks Fuku-san if he knows anything about the Phoenix Mirror and that his father may have had it. Fuku-san tells Ryo that he had never seen it or heard Hazuki-sensei mention anything about the mirror, but he thinks that Ine-san might know something about it. When Ryo talks with Ine-san, she recalls that not long ago Hazuki-sensei went to an antique shop to have something stored for him. She doesn't know what it was, but he said it was something very important. After this new lead, Ryo goes to the antique shop to see what his father had stored there for him.
Excuse me? Oh!
That's a delightful sound, don't you agree? It was made especially for that butterfly woman. You know Madame Butterfly, don't you? You're Hazuki Sensei's... Oh my, that was a terrible thing. Your father... Ah, I was holding something at Sensei's request. Just where did I put it, huh? Oh, yes, it was very important, so I put it here.
He'd asked me to polish and look after it for him.
For my father?
It's given to the Hazuki heirs once they turn 18. I gather this antique has been passed down from generation to generation.
Father.
If there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. Hazuki-sensei was always there for me when I needed him.
Was there anything else that he asked you to hold for him?
Anything else?
Like a mirror, called the Phoenix Mirror.
A phoenix mirror? Sorry, I don't know of any mirror.
Well, that's okay. Thank you very much.
In this cutscene, Ryo finds out that his father Iwao had asked Oishi, the owner of the antique shop, to look after the Hazuki family sword hand guard. Oishi also told Ryo that the sword hand guard is given to the Hazuki heirs once they turn 18, passing it down from generation to generation. Ryo asks also if his father had given Oishi the Phoenix Mirror to look after, but the old man ends up saying that he didn't know anything about the mirror. So, as we all know, the Hazuki sword handguard is a fundamental object that is part of the puzzle that Ryo will have to solve in order to find the Phoenix Mirror. And in my opinion, this cutscene is important because we can raise some interesting questions about Iwao's intentions for keeping the sword handguard stored at the antique shop. Like per example, did he have it stored only because he wanted Oishi to polish it to give it to Ryo when he turned 18? Or did he store it because he knew it was better in order to keep the Phoenix Mirror safe? Maybe it could even have been both reasons. Maybe Iwao wanted to give the Hazuki handguard to Ryo along with the mirrors that he had kept hidden, and explain the reason why he had never told him about his past in China. For me, one thing is certain, Iwao knew that Landi or someone was coming for the mirrors, and that his past would eventually catch up with him. Meanwhile, after having been at the antique shop and on his way home, Ryo encounters Guizhang following him. This makes Ryo think that Guizhang is working for Landi. The two end up fighting each other, with Guizhang eventually putting an end to the fight, saying that his father asked him to be Ryo's bodyguard. Guizhang explains that they need him alive in order for him to find the Phoenix Mirror, and that Landi must not have it, otherwise no one will stop him. While Ryo and Guizhang were talking, a mysterious character was spying on them. This character, as we all know, is Chai, and is a character that I think all Shenmue fans love but hate at the same time, and one that I have definitely feared when playing Shenmue for the very first time, especially because of this frightening music that we are listening right now. I sure hope that this music remains with Chai in his comeback in Shenmue 3. After talking with Guizhang, Ryo arrives home. He then asks Fuku-san and Ine-san about the Hazuki handguard, and ends up finding out its true purpose after some exploration around the house and the dojo. As we all know, the handguard and the sword that he finds at the dojo serve as mechanisms to open a secret door that leads into the Hazuki basement.
I wonder where this leads. The stab armor? It looks like the name of a move. elixir of eternal youth. I remember my father telling me about it being used by martial arts experts in China. Where did father get this? What strange paper? It doesn't look Japanese at all. Where did father get this? It's father when he was young, but who's that with him? Something's inside? It says good luck. Some kind of amulet? What an unusual shape. It's probably not from Japan. Zodiac signs? These are also Chinese. What's this leaf doing here? That's strange. It's not even dry. It says, all good deeds shall be rewarded. Did my father write it? Hachiri-san? Some kind of medicine? It looks pretty old. Maybe my father used it. It's our family crest, a sake cup. Does this have something to do with my family? What's that? Hey, it looks like a talisman. What could that talisman mean? Different sounds. This is it. Can I break the wall with this axe? Ha! This is the Hazuki family crest. This box. Got it! It's the Phoenix Mirror.
As we have seen in this cutscene, Ryo ends up finding out the Phoenix Mirror in the secret basement of the Hazuki Dojo. What we have also seen is that Ryo also found various objects that Iwao certainly had brought from China. But why were all these objects hidden alongside with the Phoenix Mirror? Was it not to raise any suspicions to protect the mirrors? Or did Iwao also want to bury his past about China along with them? In my opinion, Iwao might have had a darker past that Ryo has never known before. This could have been also one of the reasons why Iwao never told Ryo about his past in China, but this personal theory I will explain later on in the second part of this episode, when we analyze Ryo's story and development in Shenmue 2. For now, let us carry on as Ryo tries to find out more information about this mysterious object.
Ryo-san, you found the mirror? So that's the Phoenix Mirror? It's kinda creepy, eh?
I feel like it's pulling me in.
Ryo-san, stop it, please! You think it could be cursed?
No, I don't think it's cursed. I have a feeling about it, but I can't explain.
Hey, see what I mean? That's dangerous! Are you possessed?
Folks, get real, would you?
What? I'm serious!
Enough. Give me some time alone, okay?
Sure.
So, in this cutscene, Ryo tells that he has a feeling about the Phoenix Mirror. Although he does not feel that the mirror is cursed, like Fukusan thinks, he can't also explain what sort of feeling he has about the mirror. But can the mirrors have an effect on the lives of the people that have been in contact with them? Let us see what Ryo finds out next as he meets Yamagishi-san at Sakuragaoka Park.
Excuse me.
Oh, Ryo.
Is this a good time?
What's on your mind?
I want to show you something.
What is it?
This.
What an unusual stone mirror.
Apparently, it is called the Phoenix Mirror.
I see. There is a phoenix carved into it.
Is there anything special about this mirror?
Well, the phoenix is a sacred bird of legend. But, this has an ominous feel.
Ominous?
In China, there are many treasures that contain both good and bad fortune. This is called the secret of yin and yang.
The secret of yin and yang?
You'd best be careful. This may have something to do with your father's unfortunate death. I don't know if this information helps, but that's all I can tell you.
I see. Thank you very much.
As we have seen in this cutscene, Yamagishi-san tells Ryo that the Phoenix Mirror has an ominous feel and that in China there are many treasures that contain both good and bad fortune, and that this is called the secret of yin and yang. Yamagishi also advises Ryo to be careful because the mirror may have had something to do with the death of his father. It seems like the mirrors have had definitely some sort of influence on the lives of the people that have been in contact with them, and it also seems that in this case the mirrors have brought bad fortune to the life of Ryo Hazuki, and may have possibly been one of the reasons for his death. Next, we will see what new information Ryo will uncover about the mirrors as he pays another visit to Xu Yu at her China shop.
Hello.
Oh, Hazuki-san.
Thanks for your help the other day. But can I ask for your help with one more thing?
What is it?
It's about this mirror. Can you tell me anything about it?
Let me see it. This is a very unusual mirror.
It's called the Phoenix Mirror.
Phoenix. In China, the phoenix is the legendary bird of fortune. It's a guardian for the Sky Lord.
Guardian?
The other guardian is the dragon.
A dragon.
In China, people consider the North Star to be the lord of the sky. Look there. That is an old Chinese map in stone, see? It's a map of the Big Dipper from the Han Dynasty. On a moonless night, should you pray to the stars, your wishes shall be realized. The Big Dipper revolves around the immovable North Star. In China, the North Star is highly respected. For ages and ages, people have worshipped it. In China, there are numerous fascinating legends about the stars.
I see. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The cutscene that we just saw, in my opinion, is very important, not just because of the fact that Ryo learns that both the Phoenix and the Dragon are guardians for the Skylord, but also because it shows that the stars were very important for the Chinese people in ancient times. But this is not all. I also think that the subject of astrology is very important in the story of Shenmue. That's why I decided to show you this cutscene, because it will serve as an introduction to this subject, and later on it will help you understand my theory about Shenmue's prophecy and its connection with Ryo. This theory I will explain in the second part of this episode, when we cover Ryo's development in Shenmue 2. But now let us see why the stars and constellations like the Big Dipper were so important for the Chinese people in ancient times. The Big Dipper appears to rotate around the North Star, which is seen as a fixed and unmoving and therefore the center of the universe. Sima Tian, China's most famous ancient historian, described the Big Dipper as follows. The Big Dipper served as the Emperor's chariot and demonstrated his control of the four cardinal points by revolving around the center, the North Star. The Big Dipper also keeps separate the yin and yang, maintains the balance of the five elements, and regulates the seasons of the calendar. In Chinese, this central position or contractor refers to the host or the emperor of a country. 7 is equivalent to Qi Qing, or the 7 stars of the Big Dipper. According to Wu, Chinese shamanic tradition, the Big Dipper is the heart of heaven. The ancient shamans read the beating of this heart, or observed the movement of the handle of the Big Dipper to foretell changes in the universal Qi. The Big Dipper is considered to be the chariot of the heavenly emperor, and through changes in the handling of this chariot, the heavenly emperor controls the changes of the 4 seasons of the year. In I Ching numerology, the number 7 is the pattern of 2 and the element of fire. 7 belongs to the heart in the microcosm of the body, while the Qi Qing, 7 stars of the Big Dipper, represent the 7 orifices of the head. The 7 orifices consist of 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, and 1 mouth. In Qigong practice, it is important to know how to work with the 7 orifices because they are related to the emperor or heart in the body. Shen, spirit, resides in the heart. In Chinese cosmology, 7 represents the infinite space and time of the universe. In I Ching, 7 stands for rebirth or recreation. As we have seen, in ancient times the stars of the Big Dipper were of great importance to the Chinese people and were believed to be the heavenly emperor's chariot that controlled the seasons of the year. The Chinese also believed that these stars were connected with one's body and spirit. Another interesting thing that I want to show you before we carry on is the fact that Chu Yu also mentioned that there were numerous fascinating legends about the stars. And the legend that I'm going to show you next, I believe, is very interesting indeed. The magical fog. Long ago, only the ox-horned giant Chiyo and his brothers knew how to make weapons. Chiyo used these terrible weapons to attack the Yellow Emperor. The Emperor summoned bears, tigers and leopards to help his troops. Ying the dragon also came to help, but Chiyo had powerful forces on his side. During the great battle, Chiyo let out a huge sneeze. The sneeze became a thick fog that trapped the Yellow Emperor and his army. They soon became lost. The Yellow Emperor asked the heavens to guide him. When he saw the Big Dipper, the Yellow Emperor ordered his men to build a chariot. On top of the chariot, the Yellow Emperor placed a figure that always pointed south. Using the chariot, the Yellow Emperor led his army out of the fog and defeated Chiyo. As we have read, there are indeed fascinating legends about the stars, and in this case it involved the Yellow Emperor and the constellation of the Big Dipper that helped him in his fight against Chiyo. Carrying on with the subject of legends, the cutscene that we are going to see next also tells us about a legend involving the Phoenix Mirror. Let us hear it and see what Ryo will find out next as he visits Oishi, the owner of the antique shop.
Excuse me.
Oh, Hazuki Sensei's boy.
I could really use your expertise again.
Of course, provided it's something I am familiar with. Is it about the sword handguard from the other day?
No. It's about this.
May I take a look? What a marvelous stone phoenix mirror! Stone mirrors were produced in China during ancient times. This is an exceptional piece.
Is there anything unusual about this one?
Indeed there is. I think perhaps this type of precious stone is only found in the Guilin region.
Precious stone?
According to a book I once read long ago, an emperor ordered a sculptor from Guilin to engrave a guardian onto a stone mirror.
Guardian?
The phoenix on this mirror is a guardian.
Is there any connection between the phoenix and the stone from Guilin?
Well, I really can't speculate, but considering the legend associated with this mirror, undoubtedly there is a connection.
I see. Well then, thank you very much for your help.
You're welcome.
As we have seen in this cutscene, Ryo learns about the origins of the mirrors. It seems that the mirrors were made in China during ancient times, and that the precious type of stone that the mirrors were made of can only be found in the region of Guilin. According to legend, an emperor ordered a sculptor from Guilin to engrave a guardian into a stone mirror, and that apparently the phoenix in the mirror is also a guardian. This connection seems to undoubtedly prove that the Phoenix Mirror is the mirror associated with the legend that Oishi told Ryo. But as we will see, this isn't the only legend that can be associated with the mirrors. In the next cutscene, Ryo will learn about a dark and mysterious legend that seems to connect the mirrors with a Chinese mythological creature from ancient times.
Ah, the Phoenix Mirror. Yes, it's made of Phantom River stone.
Why did Landy only steal the dragon mirror?
He probably didn't realize your father had both of them.
2 mirrors.
A long time ago, Zhu Yuanda once told me, when the dragon and the phoenix meet, the gates of heaven and earth will open, and Qi Yu will resurrect itself on earth.
Ji Yu.
It's a legendary Chinese monster that will devour this world of ours. It appears Lan Di will try to make use of both mirrors.
What will he try?
That even I don't know, but you mustn't allow him to get that mirror. Be careful and stay alert.
If he finds that mirror, it will be the end of you.
Huh?
What the? Hey!
Two mirrors! Landi-sama will be pleased! Hui-chan!
Oh! Hazuki! Push that button!
I won't forget this!
Thanks.
Is it the work of the Mad Angels?
Mad Angels?
We always have trouble with that gang. Those dirty bastards.
That thing was probably connected to the Chi-Yo men.
The Chi-Yu men?
Yes, the Chiyo men and Mad Angels are linked.
Perhaps they are the ones who guided Lan Di here.
So, if I find the Mad Angels, I'll find Lan Di.
Nah, he's likely not here anymore.
Then where did he go?
Well, maybe he has already gone to Hong Kong.
Hong Kong? I have a request.
Request? What is it?
Please help me get to Hong Kong.
If so, then what?
I'll find Lan Di. And then...
And then he'll kill you. He's too strong.
What did you say?
Stop it!
I must avenge my father's murder.
How admirable. But you don't stand a chance.
Well, if it was you... Suppose your father was murdered. What would you do? Please, help me.
I'm sorry, but I can't. Let's go, Hui-chan.
Master Chen, please wait.
You should not waste your life on revenge.
In this cutscene, Ryo learns from Master Chen the legend of Chi-Yo. As we all know, this legend is very important, and it has been analyzed several times in the previous episodes of the Shenmue Talk series. And in this episode, it will be no exception as well. But this time around, we are going to analyze its possible connection with the prophecy that we hear from Shenmue in the prologue cutscene of Shenmue 2. This theory I will explain in the second part of this episode, but for now, let us carry on and analyze the rest of this cutscene. So, the most important thing that we can see in this cutscene, besides from the rest of the information that Ryo gathers, is the fact that Ryo's main focus is in avenging the death of his father, and that he still hasn't realized that he is destined for something much more important than that. That is the reason why Master Chen won't help him get to Hong Kong after landing, because he shouldn't waste his life on revenge. But as we all know, Ryo is a very determined person, and even without the help of Master Chen, he will try to go to Hong Kong after landing, no matter how. After the refusal of Master Chen in helping out Ryo to get to Hong Kong, Ryo decides to look for a cheap travel agency to travel to Hong Kong. After talking with Fukusan about his plans to travel to Hong Kong to go after Landy, both decide to persuade Ine-san to help Ryo to get to Hong Kong. But when Fukusan tells her that Ryo wants to travel to go after the man that killed Hazuki sensei, she completely refuses to help Ryo. It seems that Ryo will have to look for a way to get to Hong Kong by himself, so he decides to look for travel agencies to get there. Ryo tries out the global travel agency in Dobwinter, but soon finds out that the airplane tickets to Hong Kong are very expensive. Even with the help of Fukusan's savings, Ryo still can't afford to buy a ticket to Hong Kong. This kind of gesture shows that Fukusan and Ryo have a very strong friendship, almost as if they were brothers. Just like Ine-san, Fukusan is not directly related to Ryo. He was accepted as a student by Hazuki sensei and has lived among the Hazukis ever since. Having been trained together by Iwao, both have become close friends and often seek the advice of each other. Because of his honest personality, Fukusan often says more than he should. Usually this ends up ruining Ryo's intentions not to worry Ine-san, often making Ryo get upset with Fukusan. But deep inside, Ryo knows that Fukusan means no harm, and that's just how he is. So, after searching for an alternative way to go to Hong Kong, Ryo ends up finding out that a shady travel agency called Asia Travel Company sells boat tickets to Hong Kong. Ryo manages to buy a boat ticket to Hong Kong, but soon finds out that he has been scammed. When Ryo returns to the travel agency to pick up his boat ticket, he is confronted by the owner that tells Ryo that he knows nothing about the ticket that Ryo has bought. When Ryo demands the owner to give him his ticket, he is immediately threatened by two thugs. With no other chance but to defend himself, Ryo deals with them right away. After dealing with the thugs, Ryo threatens the owner, that immediately says he will resolve the situation and call him the next morning. In the next morning, Ryo receives a call from Jimmy, the owner of the travel agency. He says he has Ryo's ticket and wants to meet him at the U Arcade. This event would bring us into one of the most memorable fights in the Shenmue series.
Huh?
Yeah! Came for your Hong Kong ticket, did you? Yeah, but you are not going to Hong Kong.
Do you work for Landy?
Me? Work? For Landy-sama? That's my dream.
What do you want with me?
You know about Julianda. Tell me all you know. Landy-sama hates Julianda, so I'll be rewarded for this information.
So you know about Landy. Just who the hell is he?
I'll only tell you if you prove stronger than me.
As we have seen in this cutscene, Chai is trying to stop Ryo from getting to Hong Kong. We also learn that Chai's dream is to work for Landy. That's why he is trying to take the Phoenix Mirror from Ryo and also wants to know what information Ryo has on Zuyunda. But why is Chai so eager to impress Landy? And why is his dream to work for him? Does Chai have a more profound backstory than we might have imagined? I think that the answer to this question might be yes, because we know that Chai was supposed to appear in the second chapter of the Shenmue series, that was to take place on the boat that Ryo traveled to Hong Kong, and it has also been confirmed that Chai will be making a comeback on Shenmue 3. In the second part of this episode, we are also going to analyze a theory that might explain who Chai can really be, and what background story he might have. After the fight at the U arcade, Chai escapes and is nowhere to be seen. After talking with Nozomi, Ryo finds out that he went into the Asia Travel Company. There, Ryo would encounter Jimmy, that immediately tries to run away from Ryo. After chasing Jimmy through Dobuita Street, Ryo finally manages to catch him. Back at the Asia Travel Company, Ryo demands Jimmy to give him his ticket, but Jimmy says he can't because he's broke and has no money. Ryo then interrogates Jimmy and finds out that Chai must be connected with the Mad Angels. He also tells Ryo that they extort the workers at Yokosuka Harbor, and if Ryo manages to get a job there, that it would be easy to meet them, because they always arrest the new guys. At the harbor, and with the help of his friends Goro and Mai, Ryo would manage to find a job as a forklift driver. This would become one of the most memorable moments in the series for Shenmue fans all around the world, probably turning the forklift into the most iconic symbol of the Shenmue series. The image of the forklift has become synonymous with the Shenmue series, and it has been used not just by fans, but also by Yu Suzuki himself on several occasions. It has even been used in merchandise and also in video games. It had such a profound impact on myself that every time I see a forklift in real life, the first thing that pops into my mind is Shenmue. By working as a forklift driver, Ryo would soon realize the constant threat that the Mad Angels represent to the people and the workers at the harbor, and would many times have to use his martial arts skills to defend himself. Later on, Ryo would find out about the Longja, a secret operation between the Mad Angels and the Chiyomin to bring a shipment of drugs to the harbor. The Mad Angels also seek to destroy the business of Master Chen and have total control of the harbor. While these events are occurring, Guizhang and Ryo start to become friends. Both characters show great respect for one another, particularly because of their martial arts education. Because of this, we can definitely sense a bit of rivalry between them. This is due to the competitive spirit that both characters have. Sometimes Guizhang may seem a bit cold and that he doesn't care about others, but deep inside we can feel that just like Ryo, he really cares about the ones he loves, and that he will also do anything to protect them. Guizhang was trained in the Yanqing style of martial arts by his father since childhood, and because of his Chinese origins and martial arts background, Ryo often seeks the help of Guizhang in the translation of Chinese martial arts scrolls. So let us take a look at a cutscene where Guizhang translates a mysterious Chinese martial arts scroll that Ryo finds hidden at Hazuki Dojo, and that I think will be very important in the future of the Shenmue story.
Can I ask you something?
What is it?
Could you translate this for me?
A scroll, and it's in Chinese. Oh, fierce tiger, thou art ruler of the forest, the bravest of character. As tranquil as the most majestic of mountains, as swift as a bolt of lightning, as violent as an earthquake jolting the great earth. Show no mercy, with twin fangs strike, and rush up Moon Mountain. Striking fear in all, nary a soul challenge thee. It's a secret poetry.
Secret?
To maintain secrecy, the technique is written in poetry form. Only one who's received the master's verbal instruction can understand its meaning.
Why did my father have it?
No idea. But I'd assume if he had the scroll, then he received instruction from the original master.
My father?
I'd hold on to this. Perhaps someday you will meet the master who wrote this.
Thanks. Sorry to bother you.
In this cutscene, Ryo learns from Guizhang's translation that a secret poetry is written in the mysterious scroll that he found hidden at the Hazuki dojo, and that it contains a secret martial arts technique that can only be understood by someone who has received verbal instruction from the master who wrote it. From the information that we have gathered, I think that we can raise some interesting questions about this scroll and why it may be very important in the future of the story of Shenmue. The questions that I think we can raise about this mysterious scroll is why was it hidden at the Hazuki dojo and why was it written in poetry form? My personal answer is that this scroll must be very important and it almost certainly teaches a deadly martial arts technique. In my opinion, this scroll was given to Iwao when he was training martial arts in China, and was given to him by his master because he must have been its most worthy student. The technique must have been written in poetry form in order not to fall into the wrong hands. That's why the scroll must also have been hidden by Iwao at the Hazuki dojo. If Ryo finds the master that wrote the scroll and proves himself worthy, he will learn its deadly technique, just like his father Iwao, and in my opinion, this deadly move may very well be the one that will help Ryo defeat Lan Di. That's why I think this scroll will be very important in the future story of Shenmue. In the second part of this episode, we are also going to see where Ryo might find the master that wrote this mysterious scroll, and analyze a theory that connects the Hazukis with the figure of the tiger. But now let us take a look at an interesting text that explains how in Chinese culture poetry and martial arts are connected. The martial arts are related to poetry in a unique way. There are many beautiful forms associated with poetry. A poet might write, "The alert tiger prowls down the mountain." Behind this language is a picture of enormous power. The true martial artist connects to the words and, most importantly, to the picture behind the words. He or she connects with the energy of the tiger's stealth movements as it carefully chooses its path through the environment. Just as the poem builds line by line, the form too builds movement by movement, until each becomes a seamless whole. If the martial artist connects to the poem's spirit, he or she will understand the deepest aspect of the form. Truly mastering the material requires something far more complex, even multidimensional. Spirit is the essence behind all of China's martial arts, fine arts, as well as the medical art of traditional Chinese medicine. Now that we have seen how in Chinese culture poetry and martial arts are connected, let us carry on accompanying Ryo into his final moments of Shenmue 1. Upon arriving home, Ryo finds out from Ine-san that Nozomi has gone missing. After this brief conversation, Ryo receives a call from Chai, who has kidnapped Nozomi. Chai tells Ryo to meet up with Terry, the leader of the Mad Angels, at the harbor behind warehouse number 17, and that if he doesn't show up within the next 4 hours, Chai is going to hurt her. Ryo immediately heads into the harbor, but will he manage to get there on time? In the next cutscene, we are going to see another great example of why I think that friendship is a very important factor in the story of Shenmue, and one that will become essential throughout Ryo's journey and also in the fulfillment of his destiny.
If I don't leave Dobuita by 3, I'll never make it. The buses have stopped running. Now what do I do?
Yes, who is it?
It's Ryo.
Ah, Ryo-chan, just a moment.
Hey, Ryo. What's up? I need a favor. Oh, sure. Come on in. Can't. I'm in a hurry. Can I use your motorcycle? My motorcycle? Sure. Catch. Thanks. Don't drive too fast. I won't. Later.
As we have seen, this cutscene exemplifies why friendship is so important and why Ryo should never forget his father's final words. That's why I think that friendship will be a decisive factor in Ryo's destiny. Ryo finally manages to get at the harbor on time, but when he arrives there, he soon realizes that Terry's men have been waiting for him. Once again, Ryo will have to use his martial arts skills to get rid of its thugs. After dealing with Terry's men, Ryo finally reaches warehouse number 17. At warehouse number 17, Ryo finally meets Terry, the leader of the Mad Angels. Terry proposes a deal to Ryo. In order for Terry to let go Nozomi, Ryo will have to beat up Guizhang, so that he can't walk. Terry wants to get rid of Guizhang and Master Chen in order to have total control of the Hong Kong route to Yokosuka Harbor. Ryo accepts Terry's conditions, but only if he takes him to Landy. The two close the deal and Ryo finally takes Nozomi home. This would bring us into one of the most emotional moments in the Shenmue series, with Ryo taking Nozomi home. Along the way, we can really feel the love that both characters have for one another, but at the same time, we can also feel their sadness, because they know that eventually destiny will take them in different paths, and that they wanted that moment to last forever. In the following day, Ryo meets with Guizhang at the harbor and challenges him into a fight. Guizhang doesn't understand the reason why Ryo wants to fight, but he accepts his challenge. In the middle of the fight, Ryo tells Guizhang to pretend to lose, so that Terry takes him to Landy. Guizhang feels betrayed by the fact that Ryo made a deal with Terry, and the fight becomes even more serious. The two don't hold back and fight one another until their last breath. The fight ends with both falling exhausted on the floor. Meanwhile, Terry decides to take advantage of the situation and attempts to kill Ryo and Guizhang. The two manage to escape and end up joining forces. This would lead us to the famous 70-man battle, a battle that probably had its inspiration on the legends that tell that Chiyo had 70 brothers or even more. After dealing with all 70 men in a hard and unfair fight, Ryo and Guizhang finally get to Terry and end up teaching him a lesson. After dealing with Terry, Ryo interrogates him about Landy and finds out that Chai already took him on a boat offshore. Seeing that his friend is fully committed to going after the man that killed his father, Guizhang decides to help out Ryo to get to Hong Kong. This would lead us into the final moments of Shenmue 1, with Ryo embarking on a new journey, leaving everything and everyone that he loves behind. Before leaving to Hong Kong, Ryo would have a final encounter with Master Chen and Guizhang. They want to help out Ryo, so Guizhang has decided to accompany him on his journey. But during this meeting, things don't work out so well. In one final attempt to stop Ryo from traveling to Hong Kong, Chai launches a surprise attack. This surprise attack would incapacitate Guizhang to travel with Ryo, and this leads us to ask an important question. Will Guizhang return to the Shenmue series in Shenmue 3? To try to answer this question, we are going to analyze a picture that was shown during the 2014 Game Developers Conference by Ryo Hazuki. In this concept art picture, we can see each one of the 11 chapters that composed what was supposed to be the story of Virtua Fighter RPG, that later became Shenmue. And if we take a closer look at some of the chapters that are represented in this picture, we can see that they have a lot of things in common with the story of Shenmue. For example, if we take a look at the image of the first chapter, we can see clearly that it represents Shenmue 1. In it, we can see that Ryo is at the harbor ready to get on the boat to Hong Kong, leaving Yokosuka behind. We can also see several other important characters in the story of Shenmue, like his father Iwao and Landy. But the one we are going to focus on is Guizhang, that appears behind Ryo right next to his father, Master Chen. As usual, he is wearing his grey suit with a red tie. In the image of the second chapter, we can also see that it clearly represents Shenmue 2. And if we take a look at the several characters that are in it, we can see that Guizhang is not among them, which leads us to the conclusion that he wasn't meant to appear in the second chapter because of his leg injury that incapacitated him from accompanying Ryo in his journey. But on the other hand, if we take a closer look at the image of the third chapter, we will see that among the several characters in it, there is one that looks like Guizhang. This character is also wearing what appears to be a grey suit with a red tie, just like Guizhang in the image that represented the first chapter in the series. This is why I believe that Guizhang may possibly return to the Shenmue series, and I really hope that this comes true because he was one of my favorite characters in Shenmue 1. If you want to know more about this subject, I suggest you check out an interesting video posted recently by James Rayner on his channel that contains more information on this matter. I'm going to leave a link on the description. Now that we have covered this important subject, let us head back into the final moments of Shenmue 1. After defeating Chai in his final attempt to stop him from going to Hong Kong, Ryo ends up learning from him that Landy is already heading there on a ship. Not knowing where Yuandazu is and with Guizhang unable to accompany Ryo on his journey, Master Chen decides to offer Ryo guidance by giving him an envelope with the address of someone he knows can be trusted. That person is Li Xiaotao, one of Hong Kong's elder masters. With Chai defeated and with Master Chen's guidance, Ryo can finally embark on his new journey. But before getting on the boat, he remembers the one that could probably have been the love of his life. What has destiny in store for Ryo in this epic journey that awaits him? Let us try to find out by accompanying him on the second part of this episode. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and as always, until next time.
He comes from a far eastern land across the ocean. a young man who has yet to realize his own potential. This potential is a power that can both destroy him as well as ensure his will is realized. Perhaps he will achieve the balance that will mark him a man of courage. The path he must traverse is fraught with adversity and filled with expectations. I await whilst praying for the realization of this destiny predetermined since ancient times. A pitch-black night unfolds, with morning star as its only light. And thus, the saga begins.